Hi guys.
Hey.
All right.
Back
Welcome
for another
to
another episode of the Gringo and
the Mexican.
Nice.
That's right.
Questions that came up today.
Well, yes. The thing is that lately, between news and things and people asking us a couple questions, the topic that nobody wants to hear about, but everyone randomly asks about, is foreclosures.
Foreclosures.
So there's a lot of myths and truths out there about what is a foreclosure, why it happens, when does it happen, if normal people can even get into this topic, and that's why we're gonna talk about all of this today.
Let's talk about foreclosures.
All right.
What do we got going on, bro? You want to ask me some questions? It sounds
yes. So this video particularly today is going to be about real estate, and of course we have an expert in the industry. You have been in the industry for how long?
Almost 25 years. I'm Dave Fontana of the Orlando Real Estate King.
That's right.
I work now with my beautiful wife, Maru.
That's right.
And
ready to help you in
all
anything
questions residential real estate, we are here to answer. I would consider myself an expert because I've been doing this for so long, and I've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes.
Of course.
I haven't quite sold 1,000, but getting close.
Right.
Yeah. What do you got for me? You got
so,
a list of questions.
Well, yeah. So, first of all, what is a foreclosure for starters?
Well, a foreclosure basically is this. It's where you can pay your mortgage and the bank takes the property back through legal actions in order to recover damages. So a foreclosure basically is when the bank forecloses through court. In Florida, it's through the courts to get the title back to them. Okay. That's basically, in a roundabout way, that's what a foreclosure is. You got foreclosed on.
Right.
But it is a proceeding, and it does take some time. So if you do find yourself running behind on a mortgage, or you are upside down and life happens, I always tell people, don't do a foreclosure. Do a short sale.
Right.
We're here to help. So that is an option besides foreclosing.
Okay.
Credit-wise, foreclosure is way worse than a short sale.
Right.
It's a big blow to your credit. A short sale you can recover pretty quick.
Which explains us a little bit about, that's a good point, and we talked about this before. Basically, the short sale is the step before. If you're in a hardship, in a financial situation, you will recommend doing the short sale first before getting all the way down in the foreclosure process.
Absolutely, because a short sale, if you can recover your credit within 6 months, it's amazing how fast your credit can turn around on a short sale. Because in a roundabout way, on your credit report, most likely it's going to say paid short as agreed upon.
Right.
What a short sale basically is you owe here, but you don't have enough equity, so you're going short of what you owe. Right. And that's what the short part is. Now, it takes some time to do it. If you do decide to do a short sale, give us a call and we'll walk you through the steps. I used to do a ton of them back in the day of 2006, 2007. During the real estate crisis. We don't have that going on.
No.
Market is changing a little bit. So there are some people starting to be upside down. However, most people have a lot of equity, so I don't see this back. People say, is the market going to crash? No. But that's what brings us to the foreclosure, because I think you were asking, we had some clients ask, I want to get a foreclosed property because they think they're going to get a crazy deal.
And we're going to dive a little bit into that in a little bit later, because first we wanted to uncover what is a foreclosure versus a short sale, because that is sometimes like, and for everyone out there, this is just good to highlight, short sale is something you want to do. You're in financial situation, hardship, whatever. You definitely want to do a short sale before doing a foreclosure.
But we'll talk more about the short sale, the whole show on short sales.
We'll skip that in a little bit.
Yeah, that's another whole show about how to prepare if you do find yourself in trouble. I always say call us, we can work out something, but we'll talk about that later. Let's stick to foreclosure.
And now we have some myths and truth that we want to uncover, basically from the perspective of a buyer. So now for all of you out there that you're like, I have heard my neighbor, my friend, my cousin, my mom, whoever it is, talking about this topic, like, I want to buy a foreclosure property. Right? So we have a few truth or myth. So you tell us what it is, okay?
Let's talk about that. I hear this all the time. I want to buy a foreclosure.
The first one is, foreclosures are always a bargain or are always a great deal. True or false?
It's kind of 50-50.
Okay.
It can be a bargain if you have the cash funds to buy it at the courthouse steps.
Okay.
Because what happens is the bank, it goes to auction, and if the bank gets what they want at auction and they're happy, then that person moves on. But if the bank gets the property back and then they accumulate the property, they liquidate it several ways.
Right.
One way of liquidating it is through real estate agents, and then that means putting it on the market for fair market value.
Right.
But it goes both ways. You might get a great deal, and then the house is in perfect condition. Like, damn, I got a good deal.
Right.
Right? Or you might get a house that's missing cabinets, missing flooring, needs a roof. The list goes on and on.
Right.
So you have got it for 200 when the market's going for 400, and then you need to put 200 into it. So was it a great deal?
That's a good point.
So I find that most of the time, foreclosed properties that are on the market, which most of them are a fair market deal, maybe slightly cheaper than fair market, but by the time you add all the work that goes into it, it might have not been that great a deal.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay. That's a good point. All right.
That's my thing. So I mean, foreclosures, to me, they're just regular properties out there.
Yeah.
And there's no emotion with it.
Yeah.
You know, the banks, the guy in Oklahoma who oversees the asset, he might say yay or nay if we put an offer in.
Right.
But just like anything else, they're not going to take $100,000 less because it's foreclosure.
Right.
Because they're gonna lower the price first before you take your low ball offer. They don't deal that way either.
Now, another myth is that also buying a foreclosure property, it always needs to be through the auction process. True or false?
False.
Good. Okay. Explain us why.
Well, I mean, the really good deals, if you're cash, you would be at the courthouse trying to find a property that you could work with that you might get a good deal on. But most of the time, the banks, when they acquire this property, they usually do one of two things. Either they sell a bulk to a management firm that buys them in bulk, and like Trimming Capital, a few others out there, they buy bulk and then they sell them on the market.
Right.
Or smaller banks like credit unions might have a little asset management department that slowly liquidates it through real estate agents. But it's not, you're not
so
gonna...
it's kind of like, some properties go through auction, some other properties
they all go through auction, through court auction.
Right, but if they don't get whatever number they want,
then once the bank gets it back, the bank takes it back, then they decide how they want to distribute it. Sometimes they just sell it all in bulk.
Right.
Other times they put it on the market.
Right.
Other times they put it up for auction on the market. You'll see on the market home like a really low price, like stupid low.
Right.
I'm like, that's not right. Click. I'm looking at it. Either it's in a sinkhole, it's falling apart.
Right.
It's you're buying the land. There's a reason why it's so cheap.
There's
Usually it's because they're putting it for auction, and then there's a minimum reserve. You're not going to get it for $100,000 to Windermere. I'm sorry, you're not Windermere, Winter Garden. You're not buying a home for $100,000. Forget it. That's not happening.
Right. Okay. There's all these protocols that sometimes people, when you're not in the in the industry or in the market even as an investor doing this, there's all these protocols that get followed. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. What else you got for me?
Another one is
questions, myths.
Another one is buying a foreclosure property is risky and only experienced investors can do it. True or false?
That's false.
Okay.
I mean, one thing when you buy a foreclosed property, the bank or whoever's selling the property is going to tell you, and they're going to sign a lot of documents that say they know nothing about this property. They got it from foreclosure. Get it inspected. You buy at your risk. Okay.
Right.
But a lot of times foreclosed properties, they're in pretty good shape. The person just couldn't afford it, so they walked out, whatever.
Right.
And the homes might need little work, but you obviously get it inspected, see what we're dealing with. A good real estate agent can tell you right off the bat what is wrong with the house. I mean, a good real estate agent, been around a long time, can walk up to the front of the house and start pointing out all the things wrong. They're not inspectors, but they've been around long enough to tell you, hey, look, this has already got issues. I already see.
Right.
Other times you walk in, it looks amazing. Now you got to be careful because the old saying goes, lipstick on a pig.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Of course.
Banks will do that. They'll slap like open door. They throw in carpet.
Carpet paint.
Put some paint. We don't know anything. They might have covered up the mold. So just be careful with that. Yes. But for the most part, I think you can find a okay foreclosure property.
Okay.
But once again, if it needs a ton of work,
Yeah.
you might as well buy maybe a new construction. I mean, it depends which work you're talking about. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't mind doing the work. Really? You got news flash for you. A lot of people don't have a pot to piss in, so they're scraping by. And next thing you know, you want to put a $20,000 roof on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it needs an air conditioning for $8,000. Oh, it needs new floor for another $20,000.
Yeah.
Not happening.
And this is just
So
a parenthesis. Is to your point, is sometimes it's worth objectively and realistically putting in the table like both options. Sometimes like people can think like, well, you know, doing the repairs might be the repairs or updates in the house might be 20 grand versus buying a home that is $100,000, you know, less than the market value. And the reality is that sometimes we don't really understand where they come with these numbers, because it's kind of like 20,000.
The magic
it's a
math.
lot of money,
I'm like, wait a
but
minute,
it's also like it's not gonna cover the roof, the AC, the paint, the carpet, the flooring in the house. So, you know, it's all these things that you gotta look at. Now, that takes us to that last question. That is, foreclosed homes are always in terrible condition. True or false?
That's false.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, people think they're concrete down the drain, and it happens.
It happens. We have
I've been in a few. I think there's outlines of a dead body, like a murder scene.
Oh my God, the carpet.
On the carpet.
Destroyed.
But no, for the most part, you'll find they're pretty average. If it's listed with a realtor, a lot of times they will clean it up and fix it.
Right.
Not always. I mean, there's, like I said, it just depends. But usually,
but you can find something.
Usually, find some pretty good properties for foreclosure. So don't let them deter you.
Right.
Usually, I can tell right off the description's the first key. If it says cash only, ding ding ding, red flag. Why? Because there's problems where the lender won't finance on something that when the whole ceiling, I can see the sky. That when it's raining outside and it's coming in the house, I don't care if it's conventional or not. They're not lending against it. Right.
Where that, you know, another question we have here regarding that is, do buyers need to pay cash for a foreclosed property, or can they you know, use a lender to buy it?
Well, at the courthouse steps, cash only. They don't hear about your loan. They want their money within like 3 days. Okay. But when it's on the market, it's foreclosed. And you'll hear the term REO, which stands for real estate owned. The real estate owned by a bank. REO is our term. REO properties, they allow loans. They allow FHA, VA, as long as the property qualifies. Okay.
That's the key. That's the key.
So conventional, I can get away with a lot more, but
FHA,
if it's missing appliances, if the floor's kind of ripped out, we got problems. They're not going to allow it. Okay,
for safety issues.
Safety issues,
that
things like that.
Won't allow it. So
just little things. Missing screens.
Yes.
Like look how beautiful our windows are, by the way.
Right.
Oh, off the subject, but we had our windows cleaned by Winter Garden. Window clean. That kid was good.
Yeah.
He was nice. I gave him 5 stars.
Look at
I'm
that.
I'm not getting paid by him. But he did a great job. We cleaned these windows, and we don't have screens. We have the screens. They're in the garage. We just like light. But okay, it's another.
Especially this time of year. But anyway,
that's a realtor trick, by the way. Take the screens off, make your house look bright. Tips and tricks. Okay, what else we got?
Oh well, that's very interesting. You know, now something else that we want to know and put out there is, which are the areas of Orlando, talking about, you know, the Orlando market is where we are, is where we work, is where we live. Which are the areas of Orlando that will see or that have seen mostly foreclosures?
Okay. Good question. Right now, from what I see, it's pretty broad.
Okay.
It's not a lot. You know, not back in 2005 when we had thousands.
Right, of course.
But it's pretty broad of foreclosures, right? Now, there are some areas I'm a little concerned about. I'm watching.
Right.
Such as like the Champions Gate area. It seems like a lot of people got into Airbnb, and there's a lot of Airbnb on the market, which tells me they might not be selling. Sometimes we have a lot of foreign investors. Not that anything bad with foreign investors, but if they walk away, it's like their credit score is not going to get hurt too bad because they're out of here.
But here the point is that is of course due to all these investment opportunities, right? Like all these investment locations.
Investment locations, and if they're not renting the property out, then why? And why is that's another top day for another subject. But I do notice a lot on the market, a lot.
Right.
So that concerns me a little bit.
Right.
When there's a lot of properties on the market and they're not moving, and if people get desperate and they can't make the mortgage payment, then it's a check in the box.
And of course, this goes hand in hand with the interest rates, the particular market that we're in. For example, even here, I mean, the Orlando market, of course, is not the same as the Dallas market, Houston market, Ohio market. You know, all these is
LA on fire right now.
Well,
markets can come and go right now.
Right.
Right now, Florida's had some hurricanes. Our insurance has gotten a little expensive.
All these things.
So there's a little pushback right now.
Florida, to one side.
But I think Florida, all in general, I love Florida. I think it'll turn around.
Just
take some time.
And this is just again like I mean, these for anyone out there that is not very familiar with the Orlando market. In the last 3 years, I mean 2021, 2022, a lot of investors came to the city to take this opportunity and this advantage of the Airbnbs and a lot of like condominiums came up, not only for the residential, but we're talking in this particular case about investment opportunities. And when markets and economies started to change, you know, that might change. So that particularly can have a particular risk.
Well, I mean, COVID, I mean, let's face it, where else do you want to live that's cool?
Right.
You got choices, right, in the United States.
Right.
And if you can work and live in Orlando's a cool town.
It's great.
That's why I live here.
Yeah.
And we got theme parks, cruise ships, beaches, restaurants, entertainment, amazing hospitals. So so what that did though is drove a lot of people here.
Right.
So our populations, built.
Yeah.
Apartments everywhere. Every time you turn around, one was coming off the ground, condos. Yeah. Everyone got into Airbnb because we're on vacation. Fast. So it might have been a little too fast, but things will level out.
Right, of course.
It'll catch up.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of the world, and then eventually things keep moving on.
They just keep moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, anyways,
all right.
I mean,
anyway, back to that. But foreclosure, I mean, right now, what we're seeing it's just kind of sporadic.
It's sporadic.
I think I checked in Central Florida. There was like 350 total, and I mean, I'd say Central Florida. That's 4 main big counties: Seminole, Osceola Lake, or Orange, which are big counties, millions of people. There's not that many right now, but
right.
Things could change. We're monitoring it.
And this is just an important topic again for anyone out there. I mean, these foreclosed property. I mean, 98% of the population, you know, the open public, will be able to buy these foreclosed properties once they are, you know, listed to the public, MLS. That's what we realtors use. So that's definitely an opportunity.
Well, we do we get people that call us all the time, by the way, on pre-foreclosure.
Right, that's true.
Right, so Zillow and stuff will monitor. When you stop paying their mortgage payment, it goes into the thing called Liz Pendant, where they file a court action against you, okay? Right. And that takes time, though. Remember, Realtor justice take a while. So, and you know, I always say this: you're 3 months from eviction if you rent a property. You're 2 years from being evicted if you have a mortgage. So you have quite some time.
Yes. So
that's one thing people call us about. Hey, I found this property. It looks like it's pre-foreclosure. Yeah. Let's go see it. I'm like, it's not an MLS. That would still fall underneath a short sale.
Yes.
Because the person still owns it. But that does tell me that people are financially in trouble when they start seeing those, because there has been court action. Right. Meaning that they've been on notice, they've been served by the court. Hey, you haven't paid your mortgage, knocking on your door, big sticker on the window. Doesn't mean they're getting evicted, just means that wheels are turning. Okay,
because that's a good question. Just to put it out there and to clarify these, you know, with people out there. Yeah. When when there's a foreclosure property out there, does that mean that anyone can just walk and see the house?
Nope. Okay. I mean, here's an example.
There's still people living in there.
There could be, yes, absolutely. And if it's pre-foreclosure, it means they still own it. They haven't got foreclosed on. You walk in the house, they're going to shoot you. You know. And if it's not listed for a realtor, I mean, what that is just public record.
Public record.
That's all it is. So you see that in Zillow. Just scratch those off the list. They're not on the market. They're not for sale.
Not yet.
They're not yet. They might want to do a short sale.
They might.
But time's ticking. If they don't do a short sale soon, then it will be foreclosed on. Right. Now let's say it gets foreclosed on. Right. Well, you know, just because it got foreclosed on, the people that are still there, you know, they might have said, screw it, I'm not paying. I got foreclosed on. Yeah. Now the bank took the property back, or whoever bought it. They got the deed now. Now they need to get court action to get you out. Now I got to evict you. I just can't say, hey, I own the property, get out.
Right.
No.
So that's a little tricky, right?
It's a little tricky. So sometimes, it's foreclosed on. Well, that's fine, but someone still might be living there.
Yes,
Don't think it's on
careful.
Yeah, be very careful.
Yeah.
So, we want to see homes that are actually, on the market. We saw one today that was listed that people still live there. On the market, and they said, you can't access the house. It's up for auction. Just make an offer. You can't inspect it. You can't see it. And then you have to get the people out. We're not. My clients aren't buying that property. Get the people out.
And that's why, guys, and as summarizing a little bit now, this topic is that's why you want an experienced realtor. You want somebody that will guide you in this process. That it can be confusing, because that's why we put all these just words out there, all these concepts: foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, short sale. It can be confusing. It can be a little, of course, I mean, you're talking about very different things in very different stages that can mean the opportunity is there or the opportunity is not quite there yet. And that is key. But of course, this is the part that, of course, we come in and it's like, okay, if you're either on the side of the selling or on the side of the buying, we can definitely guide you either or to see, okay, this is how it works, these are your opportunities, or these are your options, and let's go from there, okay? Because sometimes, the least thing you want to do is get buy guidance,
Buy
guidance is what will make you have, because we have heard that too, bad experience, all these feelings involved. And why? Because they didn't quite went with right person. So
now I will throw this out there. Hopefully you have a good agent, a listing agent on the foreclosure side, and already started the title work, because this can happen. You can write your offer, and it gets approved, the bank approves it, it's going all the way, you got the lender, you got the loan, the appraisal, the inspection, and then about a week before closing, or maybe a few days before closing, you get the phone call. What's the one word I don't like?
Well,
we got a little problem. I don't do wells.
Nope.
My people who work for us, my lenders and stuff, no, I don't like to hear well.
I
ate shit. Excuse the French, but I do not like wells.
Anyway,
but wells, ultimately, what could happen in that could be a title issue. This has happened to me. Where I got the well. What happened was that there was a person when the house got foreclosed on. It wasn't fully foreclosed. There was a lien holder that was not included in that foreclosure. They had to go back to the court system, and it wasn't free and clear title. So foreclosed property is fine, but we need title insurance on this property. We want it free and clear. And we want to make sure there's no hiccups down the road in the event you have to sell it, 2-3 years down the road, and then you got a title issue yourself. So just trying to avoid any headaches with that. So.
And then also, just to put it out there too, another important subtopic about all these foreclosure properties is every single property is different, and every single buying opportunity is different, because also every home might have some hidden either fees, outstanding HOA dues, something out there that it might not, that listing agent might not even know about. And so these, of course, to your point, it doesn't come up until the title company starts to do work on it. But there's a couple of things. I mean, there's the municipal lien search, the HOA stop.
Once in a while, municipal lien, I deal with that. Sometimes the county, the guy never mowed the lawn, there's lien fines on it with the county.
And those things are easy to fix.
HOA, by law, HOA can only collect so much once it gets foreclosed on, so the money, they don't really fight too much. But they might get you on like initiation fee, welcoming fee, I call it. Capital, the term they use is capital contribution. I always say most HOAs have them, but you don't have a regular seller who would know that. So you wouldn't, sometimes that pops up, oh, it's a $2,000 capital contribution. You're like, what? Okay. So just be a little cautious. But once again, experienced agent matters.
Experience matters.
You got any more questions for me? What else we got there?
No, that's it. Now that we were kind of just summarizing all these topics, because everything just really comes down to these main questions. That are, of course, if you guys have more detailed questions, we're happy to answer.
I always say this. Let's answer these questions real quick. Will you get an amazing deal on foreclosed property? If it's on for most consumers who are getting a loan, you're going to get a property that's market value, maybe slightly below market value, but then it might need work. Okay.
Yes.
But not going to be this credible 500,000 off.
Right.
Maybe like 20,000 less than the other neighbor, but then all of a sudden it needs a $20,000 roof. So let's stop that thing right there.
Right.
The pre-foreclosures, don't waste your time when you see that look on Zillow.
Yeah.
Just move on.
Yeah.
They're not on the market. If they're not on the market, they're not on the market.
The owners still own it.
They own it, and they don't want to put it for short sale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They're just playing games at that point. Just don't waste your time. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, you can buy a foreclosed home with a regular loan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as long as the home qualifies.
That's the key.
It qualifies. And when we say home qualified, doesn't mean that you don't qualify.
Mm-hmm.
That's the home qualified.
Yeah.
Yep. And it goes really good condition.
Yeah.
If there was water damage, mold, if there's missing appliances and cabinetry and things like that.
With a conventional loan, you might qualify because the house qualifies. But with an FHA loan, even though you qualify, the house might not qualify.
You gotta remember too, when people get foreclosed on, a lot of times they take a little thing, like a light fixture. They'll yank the light fixture because they paid good money for it. And they'll have the wires exposed. That's not the end of the world.
Right.
But they start grabbing little things, which really almost hold no value.
Yeah.
But they do that. If it's ugly with the bank, we want to do a full inspection to see what the hell's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. These are the situations that, again, the property needs to be looked at because sometimes, of course, people getting kicked out of their own home that they own, but they don't own anymore because they failed to pay a couple months, a year, 2 years, whatever. It can get ugly. So
and one thing I'll throw out too, if you did get foreclosed on, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Okay, I call it regrouping.
Yeah.
You'll rent something. Now, I always say this: if you get foreclosed on and you're still living there, and a real estate agent says, "Hey," knocks on the door, puts a note, "Call me," and says, you got foreclosed on. We want to offer you cash for keys. Sometimes it's several $1,000s. Yeah. It's a real deal. Real estate agents are not going to lose their license by lying to you. Okay. Yeah. It's a contract. It's a pretty basic contract that says you move out. They usually give you like 3 to 5 days to move out, clean the property, leave the appliances, they'll walk it, and they usually offer that to get you out versus evicting you. Yeah. Now, if you ride it all the way through and you get evicted, I'm going to tell you it's very nasty. Yeah. And what happens is that they'll give you 24-hour notice. If you don't get out, the sheriff will rip you out of the house. They will throw all your personal belongings right to the curb, and I mean throw it and trash it. They don't care. To them, it's garbage. And then the hoarders will be out there grabbing your stuff. It's very sad. Yeah. And then from there, they change the locks and then go from there. If you try to re-enter that property, you're going to jail. Yeah, because now you're trespassing. Evicted. Now you're trespassing. You are not authorized anymore by court order, and it's pretty ugly. We've seen it where a pile of their belongings. It's kind of heartbreaking. It is. But that's why you don't need to really get to that point. When you don't need to get have information, things happen, life happens, bad situations happen, and that's life. And at the end of the day, we all have to deal with it. If you're in that situation, but there's options. And there's cash for keys. Take the cash. Right. Usually it's a certified check. It's a real deal. They're not going to lie to you because especially a real estate agent, like I said, they're not going to lose their license. Especially when you have been hearing about these realtor for a while. They have these. They're going to come by. They work with a bank. They work with a bank. They're in there. They were assigned that property. Yeah. And they've been watching that property for a while. You might even seen them drive by, taking some photos from the outside. Right. What they're doing is market analysis. Yeah. And just kind of seeing what the neighborhood goes for. They're reporting into the bank. Okay? Yeah, basically. But anyways. Foreclosures can be a good option for you. Yeah. I still think though sometimes that the home needs a lot of work, or sometimes new construction is still a better deal. Yeah. Or even just also that normal resale. When we talk about these resale buyers, when we talk about foreclosure properties, we're talking about these foreclosure properties that are out there in the MLS. Right. Because remember, we're not talking about these properties that are on the side that you only need cash. The courthouse auction. Yeah. The courthouse auction. You need to be a pro. Yeah. It's not. If you're not a pro, cash. Do it with a loan. And you better have your crews ready to renovate. Yeah. Everything. And you got to be peeking in windows, see if anybody lives there. There's a lot to that. It's a lot to that. I don't deal with that. It's just not my specialty, but I know about it. Yeah. And there are people that do that all the time. All day long. So well, I hope we educated you a little bit on foreclosed properties. Yes. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe below because we like to definitely subscribe. Definitely, because we're fun people, right? Give like thumbs up. You like it. Yes.
And definitely also like type in comments like which question do you have, what we didn't explain, maybe a little bit more thorough that you might want, or
I hope I
which
answered these
topics.
questions to you.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of new for you.
Absolutely, this is definitely something new that it doesn't mean it always happens every year in every country, in every city, you know. But right now, lately, because of you know, market situations and money and people, we have been receiving, you know, in the last 6 months to a year, questions randomly. We're like, you know what, I think this is good just to put out there, especially from
I tell people
expert.
this all the time. One thing I tell people all the time.
Right.
Because some people get embarrassed. Oh, embarrassed. Or, no,
no,
there's no embarrassment.
Right, no.
If you're falling behind, this is just, remember, don't feel bad with the bank. Don't take it to your 401k and go freaking broke.
No.
You're sinking ship.
Your savings in retirement.
Right. Retirement's more important than anything else.
Key.
And remember, bank bought your house as a business decision, and sometimes business decisions go wrong.
They do.
That's nothing personable. It's a business decision.
Yeah.
Same with banks, and same when you loan them money, they gave you the money, if things go wrong. No different than you buying stock in the stock market and it crashes.
Yeah.
Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay. So banks know the risk, and you know the risk. Everyone's in it together.
Yes.
You know what? If you succeed in life and you pay your bill off right, they made money. If things go wrong, it's oh well. You know, we lick our wounds.
Part of the cost.
It's part of the cost. So don't feel bad, okay?
Right.
This is, I always call it guerrilla economics.
Yeah.
You gotta fight. You gotta fight for everything.
Yeah, of course.
We'll talk more about that.
We'll
I can talk all day long.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Shut up, Fontana.
No,
Gringo.
The Gringo and Mexican.
Yeah.
But this was a great topic. Of course, David, thank you for
You're welcome.
bringing your knowledge today, and we'll definitely be doing more topics, more videos about different topics. But again, definitely subscribe below. Thank you for watching or listening, whatever you were doing. We really appreciate it.
This channel's new. We're building it up.
Yeah, we're building it up, so all that matters. Okay, guys?
Okay, we'll bring up some fun stuff.
Yes.
Later. Okay, I got some cool stuff happening.
Yes, we do. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
See you until next week, okay?
Adios.
Adios. Nos vemos.